Imagine you're sitting in your favorite armchair, the one that's molded perfectly to your shape after years of use, and the house is quiet, too quiet. The kids are grown, the grandkids are busy, and maybe your partner's gone, or your friends don't call as much. You stare out the window, watching leaves fall, and a pang hits you. Not just loneliness, but fear that maybe this is it, that the best days are behind you, that your memories of laughter and connection might slip away like sand through your fingers. It's a heavy feeling, isn't it? That creeping sense of being forgotten, or worse, forgetting what it feels like to belong. But here's the good news. You don't have to stay there. Today, I'm sharing 5 powerful science-backed ways to shake off that loneliness after 60, to feel connected again, to rediscover joy, companionship, and your own unshakable self-worth. Stick with me, because this isn't just fluffy advice. These are strategies rooted in neuroscience, proven to rewire your brain and bring light back into your life. First up, let's talk about reaching out. Yes, picking up the phone, sending a text, or even writing a letter. I know it sounds simple, but hear me out. Loneliness isn't just a feeling. It's a signal from your brain, a little alarm bell that says, hey, we need people. Neuroscience backs this up. A 2018 study from UCLA found that social isolation triggers the same brain regions as physical pain. Your mind literally aches for connection. But when you reach out, even in a small way, you flip that switch. Your brain releases oxytocin, that warm, fuzzy hormone that bonds mothers to babies and friends to each other. Picture this: an older gentleman named Tom, 67, widowed for 3 years, sitting alone in his Ohio apartment. He'd stopped calling his old fishing buddies, thought they'd moved on. One day, he sent a simple text, "Miss you guys at the lake last weekend." Within hours, they'd planned a trip. Tom said it was like a weight lifted. He wasn't just reconnecting with them, he was reconnecting with himself. You can do this too. Start small. Text a neighbor, call a cousin. Who's one person you haven't talked to in a while? Tell me in the comments. I'll read everyone, I promise. It's not about grand gestures. It's about that first step, that spark of courage that tells your brain, I'm still here and I matter. Now, let's move to something a little unexpected: volunteering. I'm not talking about signing up for a lifetime commitment, but giving a few hours to something bigger than yourself. Maybe it's reading to kids at the library, serving soup at a shelter, or helping at a community garden. Why does this work? Science says it's a double whammy for your brain. A 2020 study in the Journal of Gerontology showed that volunteering boosts dopamine, that feel-good chemical, while lowering cortisol, the stress hormone that fuels loneliness. It's like a natural antidepressant. Imagine Margaret, a 62-year-old retiree from Florida. She'd spent months rattling around her empty house after her husband passed, feeling invisible. Then she started helping at a local animal shelter, walking dogs, brushing fur, hearing them bark with joy. She told me, "Those pups didn't care that I'm not 30 anymore, they just wanted me there." Soon, she was chatting with other volunteers, swapping stories, laughing again. Visualize it. Her in a bright red apron, a scruffy terrier tugging at the leash, sunlight streaming through the kennel windows. That's connection in action, messy, real, alive. Could you see yourself doing something like that? Maybe you love animals or kids or fixing things. What's one cause that lights you up? Think about it and let me know below. I'd love to hear your ideas. Next, let's get physical, not in a gym rat way, but through movement that connects you to others. Think dance classes, walking groups, or even a gentle yoga session with a friend. Here's the neuroscience scoop. Exercise doesn't just keep your body young. It rewires your brain for connection. A 2019 study from Harvard found that group exercise increases endorphins, those happy hormones, more than solo workouts, because you're syncing up with others, sharing smiles, feeling part of something. Picture this scene: Ellen, 65, from Seattle, who'd always loved music but felt too shy to dance after her knees got creaky. Her daughter dragged her to a senior salsa class, red skirt swirling, maracas rattling, the room alive with rhythm. At first, she clung to the wall, but then a kind-eyed man named Carlos asked her to dance. She stumbled, they laughed, and by the end, she was hooked, not just on salsa, but on the chatter, the friendships, the way her heart raced for joy, not fear. Movement like that doesn't just fight loneliness, it builds a tribe. Have you ever tried a class like that? Or wanted to? What's your favorite way to move? Drop it in the comments. I'm curious. Okay, number 4, lean into creativity. Paint, knit, write, sing, garden. Anything that lets you pour yourself into something beautiful. This isn't about being good at it. It's about what it does to your mind. A 2021 study in Frontiers in Psychology found that creative activities boost serotonin, your brain's mood stabilizer, while lowering inflammation linked to loneliness. It's like giving your soul a hug. Imagine Harold, 70, a former accountant from Texas who'd never touched a paintbrush until his wife bought him a cheap watercolor set. He started with shaky lines, blues and yellows bleeding together, and soon he was painting sunsets, memories of his childhood ranch. He joined an art group, shared his work, listened to others' stories. One day, he painted a horse for a woman in the group who'd grown up on a farm. She teared up, hugged him, and suddenly, he wasn't just Harold the number cruncher anymore. Picture him at an easel, paint on his fingers, the room buzzing with quiet chatter. Can't you feel the warmth? Creativity connects you to yourself, to others, to something timeless. What's one creative thing you've always wanted to try? Tell me in the comments. I'll cheer you on. Finally, let's talk about self-worth, because loneliness often whispers that you're not enough, and that's a lie we're going to kick to the curb. This one's about celebrating you, your stories, your quirks, your strength. Neuroscience tells us that self-affirmation, yes, talking kindly to yourself, rewires your brain's prefrontal cortex, the part that handles self-esteem. A 2022 study from Stanford showed that people who practiced daily affirmations felt less isolated because they stopped waiting for others to validate them. Meet Clara, 68, from New York. She spent years feeling like a shadow after her kids moved out, until she started writing little notes to herself. You're a great cook. You made someone smile today. Silly? Maybe. But then she started believing it. She joined a book club, shared her thoughts, laughed at her own jokes. Imagine her in a cozy library corner, glasses slipping down her nose, her voice strong as she debates a plot twist. She's not just there, she's shining. You can do this too. Look in the mirror today. Say something kind, out loud. Maybe, I'm tougher than I think, or I've got a killer smile. What would you say to yourself? Share below. I'll read every word, I swear. So, there you have it. 5 ways to feel connected again after 60. Reach out, volunteer, move together, get creative, and own your worth. These aren't just tips. They're lifelines backed by science, lived by real people like Tom, Margaret, Ellen, Harold, and Clara. Loneliness doesn't get the last word. You do. Start with one, anyone, today. Maybe call that friend. Sign up to help. Dance in your kitchen, paint a messy flower, or whisper something brave to your reflection. You're not alone in this. I'm here, rooting for you, and so are all the folks watching this. Which of these 5 hits home for you? Tell me in the comments. I'll be there, reading, replying, cheering. And if you want more ways to spark joy and connection, hit that subscribe button. Let's keep this going together. You've got this. I believe in you.